What is an altar? Why should we care today? Let's begin with the basics. An altar is a spiritual gateway, a place of sacrifice, a place of covenant. It's not just a physical structure, it's a spiritual legal system. Every altar, whether to God or to a demon, speaks. It invites a spirit to operate in a territory, family, or individual life. So the question isn't if there are altars in your life. The real question is, who built them and to which God? Let's go back to a powerful moment in the Bible, the story of Gideon. Now it came to pass the same night that the Lord said to him, "Take your father's young bull, the second bull of 7 years old, and tear down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the wooden image that is beside it, and build an altar to the Lord your God on top of this rock in the proper arrangement." Judges chapter 6, verses 25 to 26. Let that sink in. Gideon's own father had built an altar to Baal. That altar was in their backyard, on their land, in their family. And God didn't send Gideon to fight Midianites first. No, He told him, "Tear down your father's altar." Why? Because that altar was giving the enemy legal access to oppress them. Before Gideon could walk in deliverance, he had to deal with the altars in his bloodline. Altars still exist today, even without stones or bulls. Now, you might be thinking, well, we don't have altars in our backyard today. Nobody's sacrificing bulls or building shrines. But altars today are spiritual systems, hidden but very active. They exist when families dedicate children to spirits, when ancestral worship is performed, even in the name of tradition, when sexual covenants are made outside of God's design, when blood is shed unjustly and never repented of, when agreements with secret societies are formed, when addictions are passed on as just how we are. These are modern altars built through actions, words, and rituals. Generational altars, why patterns repeat. Have you ever noticed 3 generations of men dying young? Everyone in your family going through divorce, a cycle of barrenness or poverty that skips no one. These aren't just genetics, these are spiritual systems. They point to altars that were built long ago, maybe before you were born. And unless someone, like Gideon, rises to tear them down and raise a godly altar, they will keep speaking. Altars don't stop speaking just because we go to church. They stop when they are confronted, repented of, and replaced. Let's look at a real-life example. I once counseled a woman who had dreams of snakes every night. Her finances were blocked. She had no peace. We prayed and fasted, no breakthrough, until one day the Holy Spirit revealed something. Her grandmother had been a traditional healer, a witch doctor, and had dedicated every female child in the family to the ancestral spirits. That was an altar. We repented. We renounced it. She threw out the artifacts and charms her family told her were just cultural. That night, the dreams stopped, and her life turned around. Altars speak, whether you know it or not. Every altar has a voice. The question is, what is it saying over your life? And did you build it, or did someone else? God told Gideon, "You want to walk in freedom? You want to be used by me? Then deal with what your father built." Here is a warning. Some of us are trying to cast out demons, but we haven't dismantled the altar they stand on. You can fast, you can cry, you can worship, but if the altar is still standing, the door is still open. God is calling this generation to rise like Gideon, not just to sing songs, but to tear down altars, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. Ephesians chapter 11, verse 11. Pause and ask yourself, what altars might be standing in my family that I didn't build, but that are still affecting me? What has been normal in my family that might actually be a spiritual covenant? Write them down, pray. We'll deal with them chapter by chapter.